But I was participating in the HR, and the commissioner said to the ABC, the RFS has been public enemy number one when it comes to HRs, hazard reductions, because you get people in Sydney, when you do the hazard reductions around the Blue Mountains, especially around surrounding Sydney Basin, that smoke comes in and sinks into Sydney. And you get the health board, you get residents, local residents where the HR is being conducted, you get the residents of Sydney, everyone complains and points the fingers at RFS and basically hates RFS for a little period of time because we're creating all this smoke. It's literally happened. I've had people say to me, I go, why, could you not picked a better time to do a hazard reduction? We're choking here. I've had people literally walk up to me and say that to me, that know me obviously. And what the commissioner says is right. I think from my experience, I've had people ask me that question. We're public enemy number one. So it makes our job a little, very difficult to be able to conduct these hazard reduction burns. And then you've got other factors. You've got the resourcing issues. Now I'm not going to take the lefty avenue of the resourcing issues that, there's no funding or anything. Resourcing is you've planned everyone to come together and do a hazard reduction on this day. But then you get a complaint from the health board. You get a complaint from somewhere else. The weather turns on us. The weather's not as what we predicted. Humidity's too high, too dry, too windy, whatever it might be. Someone's having a bad day. Then you have all these resources just that were ready for that one day, gone to nothing. And you really don't have, you can't really then say to hundreds of these resources, okay, no, let's do it till tomorrow. Tomorrow's a better day. No, you completely can it and you wait for another opportunity and start your planning and resourcing again. That is what we call the narrowing of the ability to do the hazard reduction burn. And you'll hear this now, especially now when the fire and the disaster relief and everything's done and dusted, and we start having the inquiries, you'll get the left peddling it and saying it's because of climate change. Climate change is very small, again, I'm not denying this climate change, climate is having an impact on hazard reduction burns. But it's very small compared to the other more significant factors involved. And we've got to remember also that for the past 6 or 7 years, where I said we sort of was around 2013, 2014, you couldn't get the bloody bush to light up. It was too wet. So it was really hard to get a hazard reduction done. And so we had to get into these narrow windows where we could actually get the bush to burn. But it was just a very wet and optimal period. The bush was loving it, was thriving. Now I'll quickly jump back to the whole hazard reduction. Hazard reductions, from what I've seen in the Blue Mountains, have saved the Blue Mountains. There's a hazard reduction that was done in the Jameson Valley in 2018. There's a hazard reduction that was done in 2019, early 2019, on the northern side of the Great Western Highway, I think next to Hazelbrook, on the western side of Hazelbrook. Gospers Mountain came up to that hazard reduction.
The Gospers fire.
The Gospers fires, yep, and stopped. It hit that 2019 hazard reduction. We, of course, tied it in with a backburn. As soon as you reach that 2019 hazard reduction, it stopped dead in its tracks.
Right, can you pause 1 second? What's the difference between a hazard reduction burn and a backburn?
A backburn is when we are actively fighting against, an active fire front. So we light a fire in front of it, or
fighting fire with fire.
Fighting fire with fire, and we basically create a buffer between the unburnt land and the fire front that's approaching that unburnt land. And sometimes a textbook backburn, the backburn will light it, it'll roar right in through and go head towards the actual fire front. It'll meet the fire front and it'll self-extinguish naturally.
All right.
It's a remarkable thing. I've seen it done already.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of these experiences you get.
Yeah.
When you're on a campaign fire. But in 2018, there was a hazard reduction burn done in the Jameson Valley, a very touristy area. Just below Katoomba. The valley when you stand up on top of Katoomba and you have a look at the Jameson Valley. You've got Mount Solitary. You've got the Three Sisters. You've got Ruin Castle, and aptly named the Ruin Castle Fire, which burnt in that part, and then it eventually joined up with the Cowmung Fire, which was also the Green Wattle Fire. So all these fires have actually, they've all joined up. In fact, we stopped Gospers and the Green Wattle Fire joining, which was a great achievement, and hopefully the rain will completely put them out. But the Ruan Castle fire, went up to the 2018 hazard reduction. It burnt a little bit through it, but with lower intensity, and it almost sort of with the aid, with the help of RFS, it was very easily controlled in there, very easily died off. And I was told from hearing conversations in the RFS, when the 2018 hazard reduction was proposed, community backlash was significant. There's a petition going around or something to stop that hazard reduction from taking place. It's not the Greens party, but it's green activism. Green activism misleading local residents, and also local residents having natural skepticism not skepticism, worried about the HR, the smoke, they're worried about the smoke, and then some are worried about the animals and the ecosystems.